Hello, my dear fellow travelers, friends and photographer. Priestley here. I'm glad you are with me. This is my number 27 episode of my travelogues, and today I'm going to share with you my travelogues to Turkey. It's episode number 2 of my travel journey in Turkey. And in today, I'm going to share with you 3 ancient ruins. But before that, I would much appreciate if you can help me by subscribing, sharing, as well like my travel channel, so many more of your friends and family members can enjoy a virtual tour of the world at the comfort of their home. Okay, now let's move on with today proper on the travel to Turkey. We are going to cover the 3 ancient ruins. Of course, 2 of them are very popular among the tourists. One is Troy, right? Ancient ruin. The other one is Pergamon's Acropolis. Now, a bit background, geographic background of Turkey. For some of you who do not know where Turkey is located, Turkey is located at the westernmost tips of Asian continent, and it is next to the Europe continents, as shown in this map. And if you look at this Turkey tourist map, you can easily spot more than 50 over places of interest for visitors to visit. And this also could be a reason why Turkey is among the most visited nation in the world by tourists. And today we are going to travel to the easternmost section of Turkey, and at the place they call Troy, and you can see the circle in this map itself. There's one circle, and inside the circle there's a wooden horse, right? And that is the place I'm going to share with you, the first ancient ruin that I share with you. And of course, our journey started from Istanbul, and now this is the second city of our stopover in Pamukkale of Turkey. So, of course, Pamukkale is also a coastal, located at the coastal regions. Okay, now we have this wooden horse. Let's share a bit about some of the history of these ancient ruins. Troy. Troy is a site of ancient ruin on Hasalik Hill, and was a city located 30 km away from a nearby village, and the name of the village is Tifikia, which is about 30 km southwest of Pamukkale city of Turkey, right, in the Pamukkale province. Now, the history of this ancient ruin can trace back to Bronze Age. Bronze Age refer to the period from 3000 to 2600 BC, right, and was also under the both Roman and Greek period. They meant under the rule of Roman and Greek Empire. Now, this ancient ruin is now an archaeological site, also a popular tourist spot in Turkey. This ruin is awarded the UNESCO Cultural Heritage Sites in the year 1998. Near to the entry point to the ruin is where a plaza, open space, and this is called Plaza of the Historical Park of Troy. And at this plaza, a turnhouse wooden horse monument is erected, and this wooden horse is well known as the Trojan horse, right? And is seen in this image. And when we visit this Troy ancient ruin itself, I want to share with you what are the main features of these ancient ruins. The main feature of these ancient ruins are the layers of ancient wall forming the perimeter of the city, and were added over a period of time. And the period of time was stretching from 3000 BC to 580, over a span of 3,500 years. And they have classified over these 3,500 years as the Troy era. We started with Troy 1, landed at Troy 9. I will share with you more info about this era later on. And the wall were built of actually mud brick initially, and some were built of brick wood, and of course the latest part of the Troy era stone wall was built. And all these stones, external wall, was built thousands of meters in length, and some of them even have a height of reaching 8 meters or even higher. And they built also together with watchtowers and brick or stone ramps for the purpose of access. So you look at this image here now, you can see there are many colors, and you can see the legend there. Let's look at the color that's circled between the yellow line. Now this dark, more like a dark maroon red colors, are referred to those structures constructed during Troy era 1, Troy 1 they call it. And then the yellow line are referring to the perimeter wall, the external wall that's built during Troy 2. And happened to be here, didn't show any indication of any wall was built during Troy 3 to Troy 5. And only started with the pink wall, pink line, which is basically the perimeter wall in color in pink, was built during Troy 6. And then subsequently we have the red line that is under Troy 7. Alright, and finally you have the blue, those blue line was built during Troy 8 and 9. And you will feel that how could this all these walls are overlap and on top one another. Basically it's due to the expansion and of this city itself. This wall was built on top of an existing wall. That means they fill up the old site, old city site, and build new wall, and they building up, get higher and higher. I will share with you more images along to explain to you how this Troy city was expanded over the 3,500 years of periods. So of course that a visitor can actually climb up to this wooden horse to have a ride inside the horse. Right at the body you can see the 5 opening window on both sides, and also go further one more level up, there are 2 more windows and on both sides. So basically these are places for the visitor to access, and they only one access, one staircase to lead to this internal part of this viewing platform of this wooden horse. So during peak period actually you need there's quite a long queue waiting to going up, because the number of visitors at any one time allowed in this wooden horse is very, very limited. So more view of this wooden horse, right, at the plaza area. And here this is what I'm trying to share with you. Remember just now I told you that you can see those lines are overlap one another. And you can see that at the lower portion of this, right at above the ground, you can see some light blue and yellow color. These are the structure that was built during the Troy 1 and Troy 2. Then you find that some red color line was then shown, and this red color are basically all these terrain external wall, earth retaining external wall that built in stages in terrain, right? Terrace external wall. There's a built actually at the earth retaining wall, and you can see that the older structure and the older platform of the city were then filled with earth and built up, And finally, you can see the blue color are referred to the Troy 8 and 9, where the structure were built during the Troy 8 and 9. They are basically building on top of the old building city, after the built up by under the Troy era 6, alright, and this is how the city got expanded over 3,500 years. So this is just an image showing that exactly when they excavate down, they found some of the old city wall right below the city, wall on old wall. The old wall further down you dig, and then you find a layer of old wall, right? And these are the mud brick wall, which of course is the earlier sections, earlier era of the Troy, and basically at this current state, you find that it's quite run down because earth somehow or other are not that well weather resistant. And some of this, you will come across within the site a lot of those stone building structures, remain of building structures. Most of these stone building structures are the remain of Troy 8 and 9. And this is one of the theater ground. In fact, it's one of the smallest theater that I can come across among so many ancient ruins that we have visited in Turkey. A point to note that actually you're not allowed to roam around in this ancient ruin, or rather they have built up some guided wooden plank walking platform, and visitors had to walk along this wooden platform, alright, to complete their tour of this ancient ruin. So the many remain of the stone building structure were of brick. Built of stone. In certain sections, the walls are pretty high. Some even to the extent, you can say 3 to 4 meter high. And this photo is show that it's actually the wall is being terraced, right? In this section, you can already see these stone building structures that was built, and it was built during Troy 8 and 9 era. And these some are very well preserved stone ramps that we come across during our visit. And of course, those building stone columns were broken in short length, and they were all being placed at one corner of the site. And you look closely, you can still find some wording being carved onto this stone, as well as some carving like it's shown in this image. And a closer view, you know, like this piece of stone, this carved with a sculpture of a human figure. And the next important ancient ruin that I'm going to share with you today is the Pergamon's Acropolis. Now, this is called Pergamon Acropolis. It's the ruin of the rich and powerful ancient Greek city located on top of Pamukkale Hill, which actually is 335 meters above sea level in Mysia. And it was actually, and it's 26 kilometers from the modern coastline of Aegean Sea, and also is built next to Cyprus River, right? And actually, this ancient ruin, the closest city to this ancient ruin is Bergama city. And let's move on with more images. So the location of this Pergamon's ancient ruin or Acropolis is actually the third stop we have in Turkey, and is further south, right? Also is a coastal city. You can see in this image. And of course, I managed to capture an image showing the aerial view of this ancient city. Actually, the ancient city covers a much bigger area, and the area the circular under the circle being circled up, it actually basically is the higher portion of this ancient city, and is where we are visiting, right? While the lower section of the site is the building is almost all gone, And you can see that we are to visit this ancient ruin. We are not visit the entire ancient ruin because it's quite a big site, occupied the full hill, right? And we cover only the upper section only, and therefore we are taking a cable car. It's a good thing that when we visit this ancient ruin itself, the Turkish government has encouraged the tourists and also to ease the tourists, they have built a cable car at foothill to bring us up. But before we go into the image proper, this is an image of a model built on those building structure, that if it's still intact, undestroyed, how it will look like. And this will actually, all these buildings are actually located at the upper section of this Acropolis. And these are actually the layout map of the structures that are, they identify all the building structure, ancient building structures, and list it out and for visitor to refer. And you can easily say that there are many ancient buildings here, and actually it is considered quite a well-planned building. Now, this ancient city, and now an archaeological site, was once the capital of the kingdom of Pergamon during the Attalic dynasty, which actually starting in the year 281 BC to 133 BC. Quite a short dynasty, and also one of the major cultural, scientific, political, and learning center of Great world. The site is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in the year 2014. Now, this great ancient city, with many remains of impressive monuments of a full, splendid culture and architecture style from the Greek and Roman era, a very good example of a well-planned and controlled city with effective water supply system installed. Take note of what I said just now. Effective water supply system installed at few thousand years ago. The city comprises of many important building structures or elements, and such as a monumental temple, theater, store, or portico, gymnasium, altars, and libraries. All these structures were well integrated and set into the high, steep, sloping terrains and surrounded by extensive high perimeter wall at certain sections of the city. I believe all these high perimeter walls are acting as a defensive wall, and hence make this city like a fortress on a hilltop. So these are some of the maps showing just how the building structures, ancient building structure. And this is actually the cable car station at the foothill where we took our journey up to the hilltop. And along the way, this is the scene, this is the view. And you can, from far, you can see the river, or also now being built with a reservoir or a dam. And these are some of the remains of the external perimeter wall. So from far, you still can see the city from this ancient site. And the city, of course, I mentioned just now, the city of Pergamon. These ruins remain at the lower portions of this top portion of the city. And this is the point where we enter the upper section of the city, ancient ruins. And I was told that the earlier part of the city were mainly shops and also altar as well as temple site. More wall surrounding the building, the hill. Because it's building on a hilltop, and they're built to suit the terrain, and therefore you can see that the structure are terraced in such a way that they actually cascading down, all along the way, or step down. You step up or step down. Either that means there's a lot of step to climb. And this is some of the site. I believe this site could have the site of the temple as well as the site of the altar. It's quite a flat site, big flat compound. You still can see the remain of the rows of columns. And this is, as we move further to the north, the upper section, you can see that more stone structures were built, and they're closely built together. And we're coming to one of the most beautiful sections of the entire ancient ruins. And I was told again, this is actually a place where the temple of Tayannas temple are located. Traianus, Tayannas. Right. I hope I spelled it correctly. They have quite a number of very massive stone structure, still well preserved and kept in this ancient ruin. And this is where I'm referring to one of the most interest place, and the most beautiful place is actually the site of a temple. And interestingly, the temple building here, the marble or the stone they use is different from other places, more toward whitish in color. And you can see a lot of carvings work was done on the stone blocks. This is one of the best pieces that I can come across in these ancient ruins. So you can see the views of the city is very, very beautiful on a good day. And here you can see the theater, one of the steepest. I could consider this the steepest theater that I come across. It may not be the largest theater, but it's the steepest theater of ancient city. So these are closer image. You can see the theater seat and the step is still very well preserved as from this image. So, as I said earlier, you can see the building, the hills are surrounded by wall. So everywhere is wall that's been built, particularly at the upper sections. And when we come to these sections, I was told that this section is where the library is located. And this is one of the most well-preserved sections of the entire ring. Okay, then move on to another very interesting site. Unfortunately, we didn't really spend much time on this ancient ruin here because our focus, our attention is more on the Pamukkale. We call it Cotton Castle to most tourists. It's known as Cotton Castle. Now let's share a bit on this Acropolis, right? Now, an ancient Greco-Roman city and a cascading mineral terrace or thermal pool that were located side by side together and hence was collectively known as Acropolis Pamukkale. So as far as concerned, Pamukkale are referring to as a cotton castle, and where the Acropolis are referred to holy city. And both of them was awarded the UNESCO Heritage Sites in the year 1988. Acropolis is a well-preserved ancient Greco-Roman ruins that sit on these travertine outcrops. It is believed to have built during the 200 BC, that means it's about 2,200 years ago, as a spa during the Seleucid Empire. The site now houses museums which contain the historical artifacts that collected from this Acropolis, as well as from other towns in the Lycos Valley around these regions. In order to preserve these ancient ruins and some of those remain, so therefore they actually collected all this and placed in this museum that built nearby. But we did not visit this museum, we just walked around this site in a very quick manner. So not much picture was taken. And this is entry point to both the Cotton Castle as well as this holy city. They say have some quite well built stone wall around, and these are some remains of the stone wall at this site. The site is considered quite a big site, and you really want to explore it, I think you need a lot of walking. Still, you can see some of these column and arch still remain on this ancient Roman site. Most of these valuable items, interesting items, will all been collected and transferred into the museum. So what you can see now on the open site is basically some of the remains of the stonework, block of stone left behind. Actually, all these are remains of the building structures. And I found this plant very unique, and therefore I also taken and shared with you guys. And lastly, I also spotted married couple like to come to this site to take their wedding picture, and just from far managed to capture this image of these beautiful ladies. Alright, so not much to share on this ancient ruin. As I say, our focus is more on the Cotton Castle, right, which is actually a natural thermal pool. Okay, so thanks you for staying until this hour with me in this episode number 2 of my travel to Turkey, and please give me a thumb up, subscribe and share. And at the same time, I hope that you will stay tuned for the coming episode. We'll share with you on this this so-called the cotton castle, which is a thermal pool, natural thermal pool, which is very famous around the world. To most tourists to coming to Turkey, one of the intention is to visit this cotton castle. They name it Cotton Castle. And thanks again. I hope to see you again in the coming weeks. And please stay strong and stay safe. Bye.